Welcome to the Week 7 walkthrough. We're about ready to go back to poetry. And what we're going to do is, because we are required to write a longer paper in this course, along with other writings, but this is a long paper is called an explication. And explication is a French word that means to unfold. So what you're going to do is you're going to choose a poem and you're going to use various tools. Those are called the elements of poetry, some of which you probably already know from previous courses, some of which are just kind of common sense and instinctual. But you'll use these tools over the next couple of weeks, maybe a little longer, to analyze a poem that you have chosen from the book. I've chosen a poem, and I'm going to use that poem as a way to illustrate these elements as we go in the next couple of weeks. So, we have Zoom sessions this week. I'm not sure if they're going to be very long. This might be the longest one of the week. And these are your links. I'll have the other links up there probably later this afternoon. Here's my checklist, to-do list. I wasn't able to edit this, so just ignore that. Up here I say please note that the heading below says March 23rd to March 30th. It should say March 1st to March 8th. And this is I just got tired of the old typing out the checklists. I thought I would just print something out just for funsies. You can still print this out and you can check things off as you go. But these are all the things that you need to work on during the week. It looks like there's a lot to do there. Most of what we're doing this week is reading and getting ready to do the explication. And I want you to take your time finding a poem to work on. I'll explain a little bit more here. Okay. The Week 7 walkthrough, that's what I'm creating right now. So I'll put that up I'll upload that as soon as I'm done here. And then the next item is the reading assignments checklist. And it's an item. Remember, this is an item. This is not an assignment. You can't click on that to put anything in here. And what this is, you're going to see this several times. We have some attached files here. And you've also got your book, whatever version you've got, that has the same information. And I just decided to go ahead and scan these for now. So you can use your book, or you can. I prefer to use my own book, but you might be different. All right, I explained to you what I just said earlier about our goal. Our work plan is to complete an explication paper on a poem of our own choosing. So the first thing you're going to have to do is read the assignments, and what I mean is this up here, Intro to Lit Poetry.pdf. And this one, Intro to Lit Poetry Part 2 PDF, and this one, Poems for Further Reading.pdf. All of these are in the book. You can look them up. There shouldn't be any difficulty finding them at all. If there is, let me know and we'll work on it together. So after you have read the assignments, and it's a lot, I would skim it first, and then I would go through and look at it more closely. But the next thing you're going to do is you're going to find a poem in the textbook's chapter Poems for Further Reading. Remember, that was up here, one of the assignments. So when you're reading Poems for Further Reading, you can look for something in there that kind of intrigues you, or as I say, moves or engages you in some important way. You can choose a poem not in the textbook. You can choose a poem that's not in this chapter, Poems for Further Reading. But if you do so, you have to get it approved by me before you carry on with it. So the third thing you'll do is you will put your poem in the discussion board, which is below, and you'll tell me, where it is in the book, and here I say explain why you are attracted to the poem. Okay, so it's a discussion board, so I'm not only going to have to tell me what your poem is, where it is in the book, and why you like it, why you have chosen it. But you'll also have to, and I mentioned this a little further down, respond to 2 of your classmates. So this right here explains what you have to do in the discussion board. I've got this almost the same set of instructions in the discussion board itself in a couple of different places, so I know it's redundant, I know it's overkill, but I found that if you're straight on what I want you to do with this poem at the beginning, then we can get into the hard core of the elements of poetry without any problems. There is one thing a couple of poems that I don't want you to choose because I'm just so tired of them. One of them is Robert Frost's Snowy Evening, and the other is A Road Less Traveled. Please leave those alone. There are plenty of other Frost poems in the book or elsewhere that you could choose that are well worth doing. And by the way, most people think of Robert Frost as a nice old grandfatherly type, and he is not. So he only appears to be. So you'll pick a poem, and you will tell me what it is in the discussion board, and you will tell me what you like about it and why you like it. Otherwise, just follow the directions that are right here. All right, now something I want you to also note is that we will be reading many of Frank X. Walker's poetry from Appalachia, or Appalachia as he calls it. And I will be looking at those poems in screencasts to share with you, and using some of the same elements of poetry to analyze those poems as you are using to analyze your poems. So there will be a poem for Appalachia this week. I just haven't pulled it out yet to talk about it, and you'll see that. And all you'll have to do is to I'll have something called that we've used before, the hypothesis, and that will be at the end of the week. I just haven't put it up yet. So you'll note that each chapter in the textbook ends with a checklist, and you will apply I will choose the checklist for you, but you will apply that checklist to each of the poems, to the poem that you have chosen. So next week there will be 4 checklists from the textbook, and you will apply each of those checklists to the poem that you have chosen this week. I will give you some sample. I will always talk to you about my poem that I've chosen. I will talk to you about poems that Frank X. Walker has written as well, and I will be applying those checklists to those poems to give you an example of what I expect of you. So I will have the first week of these checklist assignments up by the end of this week. That'll be week 8, and maybe I'll also have week 9 up. And there will also be a course document on what I expected of the completed explication paper. So to recap, reading what I said here, we're working on poetry for the next 2 or 3 weeks, more likely 3 weeks. You choose your own poem from the text. Respond in a discussion board post indicating which poem you'll be using, as well as responding to what others have chosen. Complete the textbook checklist as we go in weeks 8 and 9 and maybe 10. And those checklists will help you get deep into your chosen poem, and you'll write an explication paper as a final product. That you got mad skills. Got it? Okay, I'll follow your progress. I'll have some screencasts over the poems. We'll talk in Zoom sessions about particular items that you all are having trouble with. I'll help you use the tools, provide lots of extra resources for you as well. The key is that you have to do stuff too. You have to reach out. You have to ask for help when you're having problems. I expect a lot from you, and I expect you to read the assignments. Here's the discussion board. That's where you click to create your thread. That's where you click to respond. And there will be one more assignment below here. I'll put it in here and I'll mark it pending until I've got it done. And it involves using Hypothesis, the social annotation tool. Okay, that's pretty much the walkthrough for the week. If you have any questions, please get in touch with me. Ask me questions at the Zoom session today, and I hope we can get off to a good start this week. It's mostly reading this week, making one important decision, and doing a little bit of responding to your classmates. Week 8 is when we really get deep into this, and the work begins to get a little bit tougher. And so consider this a relatively lightweight week. All right. I'm looking forward to this. To me, it's always fun. And I think it's worthwhile for you to do as well. Take care. See you on the Zoom session.